Here we have the story of an Oxford family and their life from peace to war and back to peace. We have Dr. Gilbert Slater, who brought his family to Oxford from Woolwich when he became principal of Ruskin College, and his wife Violet, who was a trained artist. Both of them came from nonconformist socialist families, and Violet's drawing of a recumbent figure looking like a saint is a drawing called The Committed Socialist, and it could be Gilbert himself, or it could be his brother-in-law Joseph Oakeshott. Now we can see the family in Woolwich before they came to Oxford, and the boy with his head down and a tennis racket is my father, who is the main person of this narrative, as he went to the First World War to France, and we see him first with his mother and his two brothers. The family was separated because with the closing of Ruskin College, Gilbert Slater took a job as Professor of Indian Economics in Madras. So letters had to travel long distance. Here we see Owen, the first photograph of him as a young officer, and we will, here is Owen in training, suffering from jaundice and rather pretty miserable. He referred to himself in letters as the homesick babe. And this girl is Ida Brown, and the Brown family were a Baptist family who gave a great deal of social support to soldiers in training in Chatham. This is another girlfriend with a very striking motorbike, and here is Owen in the middle of a group of three from a long line of soldiers. Officers had to be able to ride, and this is the officers' ride at Aldershot. Owen with a motorbike, his heart and joy, and as you see he's wearing tremendous leather gauntlet gloves, but otherwise rather little protection from the weather. This is the famous family canoe bought in 1918 with army pay and still in the family. It's a Canadian canoe, and we all had a lot of fun. Owen was utterly in love with the rivers of Oxford, and so when he became a student at St. Cat's, it was his great pleasure to be captain of boats and get a college 8 on the river. Peacetime brought the reopening of the Henley Regatta, and we can see one of the girlfriends of Owen's who travelled with him and another friend all the way from Oxford to Henley in camping punts. This was obviously great fun. And we see pictures now of how in 1920 they went to the reopening of Henley as a punting journey with camping punts. It was great fun, and it was from Oxford to Henley. Now we see my sister and brother with my father in the river, fooling about with the canoe. They're not really shipwrecked. And you can see the paddle on which Owen put his own initials. And that is also still in the family. Now we go into a selection of photographs taken by Owen himself when he got to France in September 1918. So these women are a mother and daughter selling oranges, and the photographs taken by Owen himself. And as you see, the cattle truck says officers only. This is a photograph of a German prisoner that Owen came to know very well because he had to escort him while he looked after the boiler. The prisoner looked after the boiler to keep Owen and a fellow officer warm. We've just passed Owen as a scoutmaster. Having learned heavy bridging as a soldier, he can be seen teaching small boys to make a light bridge with knots and rope. A tremendously important part of peace was the security to have a family. So here is Owen with his firstborn son, my brother Martin, and with our mother, Nando Slater, an Irish woman, with Martin, and the little chubby girl is the speaker, Margaret. Here are my grandparents, Gilbert and Violet, peacefully returned to unity in Parktown, and they're having tea in the central garden of Parktown in Oxford. And this is a cup to commemorate the peace. All the hopes and fears on the way ended with happy lives, and our father, Owen, becoming a very loved schoolmaster, a teacher of maths.